Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Our New World. This is episode 8 of season 2 on future leaders. And a reminder that these episodes, this podcast, is sponsored by the Millennium Alliance for Humanity in the Biosphere, or MAHB, MAHB for short, the MOB. They are an organization dedicated to raising awareness for the human dilemma, which is to do with the environmental crisis that we're facing at the moment. They empower voices. They believe in equity and social justice. They're an amazing organization doing some amazing work. So please do go check out their website at mahb.stanford.edu. That's mahb.stanford.edu. And hopefully today we're doing what they would want us to be doing, which is to providing a platform to give a young up-and-coming environmental activist a voice. She is doing some incredible work, and I hope you guys really enjoy this one. Ashely Gore is a young environmental activist. She's up and coming. She's always had an affinity with nature. And over lockdown, when she lived in South Africa, that grew stronger and it turned into a desire to make change for our planet. She has since moved to Scotland and she's been doing some incredible things. She's written a book on eco-poetry called Unsaid. The link has been shared in the show notes. And she started an organisation called Green Star, which is a youth social activist organisation that currently is focused on sustainable fashion. She's doing all sorts. She's really involving herself in the fight, and it's starting to use her voice to try and spread a message not only to her peers but globally. And she epitomizes the sort of guest that we want on this show, someone who is passionate but also is doing something with that passion, is young, trying to fight for their future but also everybody's well-being around the world.
It made me realize how humans make so many negative contributions to the natural environment, and during that moment I felt like I had a relationship with nature more, and I just wanted to make a change.
Ashely is full of ideas. She's bubbly. It was so lovely to talk to her. I'm sure you guys will really enjoy, and particularly if you are a young person listening to this, I want you to take this as an example of someone starting something small, building it, and I really look forward to seeing what she does with the rest of her life. So without further ado, let's get into it. Ashely, thank you so much for joining us on Our New World. Really happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Good to hear. So first of all, can you tell us what inspired you to get involved in the environmental movement?
Okay, so during lockdown, I actually had a moment to rethink and actually meditate on how I could make an impact. So the lockdown really influenced me a lot. It was for a year, and during that time I had to think of how I could make myself a better person, and probably how I can contribute to my family, how I can contribute to my community, and I had to look at the world at large, how can I make a contribution. And from all the world crises that we encounter today, I just feel the environmental crisis is one of the major topics that need to be tackled.
That's amazing. Where did you spend lockdown, first of all?
I was in South Africa during that time. So
okay.
A year and 6 months of lockdown. So it was really hectic during that time.
Yeah, I can imagine. Was it something that sort of came from life experience, or was it, because that's amazing having that time to just think, actually, I would like to improve myself. I'd like to give something back. That's a really amazing thing. Was there anything from before that moment that made you think climate change is really impacting us, or this has had an effect on me? Or was it just that moment where you thought, I want to make a difference, climate change is important?
um there is actually an experience. So like during those days I had to like watch news every single day from like I had to create a schedule for myself. So like every day at 6 o'clock I would watch news. And I began to like notice like how, you know, like the carbon footprint had to like decrease during lockdown. And it made me realize like how humans make so many negative contributions to the natural environment. And like during that moment, I felt like I had a relationship with nature more, and I just wanted to make a change from then. Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. And did you learn about it a lot at school, or was it mainly from the news? Do your
It
peers
was
talk
like
about it?
it was mainly from the news, but then like in 2021, I participated in the RISE program. It was introduced at school like through Swedish. So then they say that like you should start any project, and I particularly chose the climate change project, and we had to like design 3D models on like how we can make the world a better place. So being involved in that project made me like look at some aspects of like how the economic factors, you know, like impacting the world and stuff like that. So it was like basically using art models to like you know, reinvent the world. And I feel like the RISE program really made me have a better and clearer vision on like how to set up the whole, yeah.
That's amazing. That's so good. So where did it go from there? What were you? So you're now in Scotland, right?
Now in
Now in
Scotland.
Scotland, and so what did that lead to? Your interest over lockdown. What sort of things did you start doing? What sort of work did you start doing?
So from lockdown, like after lockdown, before we moved to Scotland at my former school, I from lockdown, like I said, I then took my vision to school and through the RISE program. So I then founded a school club. I know it's crazy, but like I just felt the confidence to do that.
Good.
So I started like a club called the Press Club. First of all, it was a news club because I had adopted the news you know, skills from lockdown, like I said.
Yeah.
And like every single Friday we broadcasted environmental news on assembly. And at first I did face a lot of criticism, like, why are you telling us this? Like, who cares? And I just feel like I need to be consistent with this for people to believe me. And one of the projects that we had with the press club at my former school was the lollipop stick challenge. So in order to, okay, litter picking, it's not like something that like people like doing. So I introduced like a lollipop stick challenge
Okay.
whereby we reward the person who picked the most lollipop sticks during the school term. And I know
Off
a
the
lot of,
ground.
yeah, on the ground
Okay. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the litter at my school, and really students don't like taking litter, so we had to put a reward for the person who picked the most lollipop sticks. And from there it grew from lollipop sticks to encouraging the community to pick more litter. And yeah, that's one of the sustainable habits that I created at my school and my local community when I was
That's
in South Africa.
that's so good. I love that little reward idea. I need to start doing that more, giving people rewards to pick up litter. Um,
Yes.
oh, who was giving you criticism for giving people news? Was it your friends?
Yeah, a lot, yeah, a lot of criticism. Like, it was mainly like, who cares? Like, who cares? Like, how can you make an impact? Like, it's okay. It only started with like 5 members, but like when we started the lollipop stick challenge, I then noticed like more people joined my club. Then yeah, it later grew, and actually the press club encouraged me to start Green Star, because I then realized I could actually create something big, starting from criticism. Probably more people can join if you actually make common sense.
Yeah, so Green Star. Okay, we'll just go back a bit. So sorry, did you say the Crest Club?
The press club, like press for news,
Oh yeah,
environmental
yeah.
news.
Okay, so Green Star is the thing that you've started now. It's the organization you've started now. So can you tell us a little bit about Green Star, because that's you're still going with that, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So tell
really
us a little bit
go.
about that. Yeah.
So like from the press club, I later evolved to Green Star. Green Star is basically a youth-led network whereby the youth are like advocating for environmental justice. We're finding innovative ways to like solving the climate crisis and environmental issues that are like affecting our world today. We have like water pollution, air pollution, biodiversity problems, and more. Like there are a lot. So in order to narrow down how we're gonna solve the climate problem, because it's really something huge that a small group can solve, and there are a lot of people trying to solve, but trying to be realistic, we then figured out like we have to have one mission or one goal. So then we decided to start the sustainable fashion project that we're still going to carry out to 2023. So we decided to focus on sustainable fashion because we realized that it's one of the most leading industries right now.
A huge, yeah, huge,
Yeah,
huge
like
business.
really huge, like after the fossil, fuel industry. So yeah, that's how it all began. And we're still trying to find like a solid base, but for now we're focusing on the sustainable fashion project that we're carrying out in 2023.
And when you say we, who's we? Who can join the group? Is it mainly youth activists, youth thinkers?
Okay, so it's like youth from like international youth. Like for now we're like 15. Yeah, it's a small committee for now.
Yeah.
And yeah, but like we're willing, as in like, okay, Green Star is willing, okay, to like recruit more youth, with the same goal.
Yeah. I mean, a start's a start. 15 is a good amount. That's awesome. And are
Yeah.
they from all over the world, or are they from South Africa or Scotland or whereabouts?
Yeah, some are in the UK, like yeah, in Scotland. As some of my friends joined me, and some are from South Africa as well as Asia. Yeah, yeah. So like everywhere,
That's,
spotted everywhere.
that's amazing. Oh, so when you talk about projects, you said you focus on sustainable fashion. What
Mm.
what sort of projects? Because I imagine a lot of, I mean, especially youth, a lot of people who are still at school will be listening, thinking,
Yeah.
well, what projects can I get involved in? What skills do I have? What sort of things do you work towards? Do you work towards activism projects, or do you work towards actually developing ideas and developing um, products that can help with the problem?
Okay. Yeah. So it's more of practical than like activism. Okay, let me just try to explain this. I like talking about this.
Yeah, yeah, do
So
it.
like I really do. So like the sustainable fashion industry is like it's a long chain. It starts from like individuals like us. Just to say like every person produces about like 15 kgs of waste. So like a lot of people produce like waste like with their clothes. So we decided to focus on the waste disposal like point, whereby isn't it like like there are a lot of bins like waste bins, but like you've never seen a bin representing disposal waste for clothes,
Yeah.
like they isn't anything like that. So we'll start small by like engaging the local community and council and trying to introduce these bins that represent like where you put your clothes, because I feel like there's a discrimination and like clothes, like waste clothes, like people when we are talking about waste, like people normally think of plastic bottles.
Mm.
I don't know, like, but we're like forgetting
Yeah.
the most critical waste that, like, deteriorating landfills right now, which is fashion and clothes. So introducing these beans and introducing this fashion waste collection will probably make the whole system better. And we're just gonna collect, but as for the other parts like recycling and reusing, that part is probably for other big companies. But we're trying to make an impact by just collecting the waste.
That's so cool. That's such a good idea. I like that because, again, like you said, it's such a big problem. Climate change anyway, but the fashion industry, you don't really know where to start. So really focusing in and actually trying to do something productive and
And also in small portions.
Say again, sorry.
And also in small portions, trying to break down the stages.
Yeah, and that's, we talk about it a lot on this podcast, is doing things in small chunks and doing what you can rather than trying to solve one huge problem at a time. It's breaking it down into all these little problems. Love that. That's so cool. So is Green Star, where do you see Green Star going? Do you think it's going to stick there? Is that the goal at the moment, or have you got long-term plans for it?
Obviously, for now, I made plans for 2023 and up to, like, 5 years from now, like trying to make it small. But for now, we're trying to make it small, just like, like experiment how it's gonna work, because yeah, there are a lot of facts to consider. But for now, I just procrastinated for like 5 years, and for now we're working with where I am, which is here in Scotland. And as for the other coordinates and other youths that are part of Green Star, if they also introduce the same idea where they are, I feel like Green Star can really grow big with the same idea, but people who are, like, everywhere.
Have you found it difficult moving the ideas from South Africa to Scotland? Have you had to sort of start from scratch, or because everything's online, is it okay? But
some of the ideas that I had back then are really changing now. Like, I had to make a lot of adjustments because of the setting and stuff. But yeah, that's the main vision that I had, because I had always been in love with the environment and clothes. So I had to combine the two and just make, adjustments to suit the community that I live in.
Yeah, okay, cool. And I imagine the education structure is a little bit different. So is it still things that you can apply at school, or is it difficult to balance what you're doing with the environmental work and the education that you're getting in Scotland?
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay. So, like, to be honest, I feel like what I do as an environmentalist has connection with what we learn at school and, like, education, because, like, I do chemistry, and chemistry is evolving into sustainable chemistry apparently. And art, like, art is also evolving into sustainable art. So when I look at it, I feel like everything around me is evolving into sustainable whatever. And it's really something that I'm enthusiastic about. And I'm really glad to just, like, have stuff connecting, like education and environment.
That's great. That's great. So you can, what do you want to go on to do further study, or do you want to go into the work you're doing? Or it might be both, but have you got real interests in continuing studying and trying to combine them, or do you just want to go into environmental work?
Probably that depends, but I really love what I do. So for now, okay, it's like trying to link your passion with your profession.
Yeah.
So, okay, I can do both, but I would rather go for my passion. So I'll go for what I do now. That's if it progresses, and of which I believe it will. So yeah, I'll go for my passion.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
how do you see? I mean, it sounds like you're involving youth in the issue, which is a huge thing at the moment. It's really important. The last few podcasts have been on getting people's voices heard. How do you kind of see people like yourself, your roles in the future? I feel like a lot of people are seeing, like exactly like you said, the environmental movement, climate issues are going to integrate themselves into all sorts of jobs. Most jobs will require sustainability aspects to them. But what sort of roles do you think people your age and below, and even above, what do you think they have in the climate crisis at the moment?
To be honest, I feel like they have a more drive compared to the demographic age. Like for now, that's what I think. Because okay, it's like like think of my social circles and the people that I network with. Okay, the youth are making a much more change, like a lot of like a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy. Obviously, we do need adults in order to make a change because we need the support. We can't change the world alone. But I feel like the youth are unstoppable for now, and I feel like the generation is really important. Like for my age, because we're like living now, but like we're important for like like the 50 years from now, if we're looking at the economic state of the world compared to older people, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, it's good to know I'm still needed as an adult. I'm pleased with that. That's good.
Yeah, yeah, and also still needed, I
I
say,
know I'm
just
now
for
at
the
that stage where I'm definitely not youth anymore, and so I'm a bit worried that I'm just getting phased out. But no, it's good to see that clearly there are people who are very passionate about it, and that's a nice, really nice thing. No, it's genuinely good to see like work is being done. So, in terms of sustainable fashion, because I was going to ask what you think the
Mm.
biggest issues are that we face. It sounds like you choose sustainable fashion. Is that something you chose professionally, or is that something that you feel very deeply about, or is there another connection that you have to the environmental crisis? Is there something that you really think is a huge problem that needs to be solved that maybe you don't feel like you have the power to solve?
Okay, so mainly it's sustainable fashion because looking at like yeah, it's sustainable fashion because we do wear clothes every day and 92 million tons of textile waste are being produced every year, and it's like something really devastating if we think about it, and it's just like common sense to realize that a change has to be made. So yeah, and I also like another topic that I'm interested in. It's like making environmental awareness through literature. I feel like people need to focus more on like green and eco poems, or probably just literature in general, because so many authors are trying to send out a message out there, but because reading is quite eroding, like in society, it'd be hard for to
And and how,
probably.
because you've written a book, haven't you?
Yeah, I
And
did.
that was on poetry. Would you describe that as eco poetry?
Yeah, eco poetry or green poetry. I actually like the word.
I love that term. Yeah. What's it about? I mean, what are the poems about?
The poems are basically about they portray or they reimagine what probably a world without what the climate crisis would be like, or focusing how the world would be like if we continue to, continue with the harmful actions. And I
Yeah.
feel like the difference between the two will probably, make emotions of the readers have ethnical feelings and they change their actions.
And what's the name of the book?
Unsaid. I actually have it now.
Oh yeah, show us. Yeah, and we'll share a
Yeah.
link as well. Unsaid.
Unsaid.
Ashely Gore.
Unsaid. Yeah, for
That is a
sure.
great front cover as well. Love that. And we'll share a link.
Yes.
We'll share a link for people listening and watching. For those just listening, great front cover. Check it out online. Look at the link. I think, yeah, no, it's great. I think I like the idea of combining the arts and sciences and policy as well, which I think a lot of people don't necessarily see them combining, but I speak to a fair few people who end up doing hobbies on like eco poetry or eco art and things like that, and they always term it eco something, and it's really nice because that seems like a connection for you, for people.
Mm.
Do you feel like the work that you're doing, so the writing and the project work, do you feel like it makes your voice heard, or do you still feel unheard as youth?
That's really difficult. Okay, so I'd say in sustainable fashion or green style, I feel like my voice is a better platform because we can see like the change that we're making can be seen. It's something that can be seen, like something evident, and of which in literature, I feel like my voice is not yet heard because people do not appreciate literature that much. And literature is something that can change society and probably change people's state of mind into green thinking. And green thinking is something that will probably change and save species years from now, if you look at it.
So do you think, what would you prefer? What do you think gives you a bigger voice, or what would you like to give you a bigger voice? Writing, the literature side, or the project work you do with youth?
Okay.
Or both.
Probably literature.
Yeah, I
Or
was going to
both.
say, it sounds like literature, yeah.
Yeah.
And so one thing we always ask everybody, and it's the impossible question that I'm thinking I should probably get rid of because it's always a difficult one and everyone complains about it because they can only give one answer. But what is the one thing that you think that you would recommend that people do to try and help our planet? The one thing.
Oh no, that's really difficult. Okay. Okay. I feel like this is really difficult.
It doesn't
but,
have to be. It doesn't have to be to do with. A lot of people want to say like go vegan or do, which is brilliant. It doesn't have to be wear less clothes. Wear more sustainable clothes. It doesn't have to be get rid of the sustainability. It could be anything. A lot of people say communicate properly. That would be my one. What do you think yours would be?
Okay, probably people should feel like an individual responsibility and not depend too much on collective responsibility in whatever they do, because most of the times most of the stuff we do based on people but not on ourselves. So if we have an individual responsibility, then later a collective responsibility, then from there I feel like progress will be made.
Great sign off. That's I really like that message, Ashely. And I just want to say thank you again for joining us. That was brilliant, and good luck with the rest of the work.
Thank you for having me.